My husband's boss called me late at night. Her voice was sweet as she said, "I hope you don't mind, but he's spending the night with me, for the sake of his job." Stunned, I confronted him the next morning. His face went pale as he whispered, "I had no choice." Smiling, I said, "Neither did I." That evening, his boss was fired, and he had no idea I was the one who pulled the strings. I never thought I'd post something like this, but I guess life takes some wild turns. I've been married to my husband, Mark, for 11 years. We've had ups and downs like anyone, but I always thought we had a solid foundation. We live in a small but cozy apartment in Chicago. Nothing fancy, but enough to call home. I work from home doing freelance design, and Mark works in finance, middle management stuff. For the past year, he's been with this new firm downtown. Fast-paced, demanding, always needing overtime. He'd come home late, skip dinner, even started sleeping in the guest room so he wouldn't wake me. I was patient at first. I believed him. I really did. Then last Thursday happened. It was around 10:45 p.m. I remember because I had just brushed my teeth and was about to watch an episode of some trashy reality show before bed. My phone rang. Unknown number. I don't usually pick up those, but something told me to answer. "Hello?" I said. The voice on the other end was calm. Polished. A woman. She said, "Hi, is this Mark's wife?" My heart skipped. Yes. Who is this? I'm Vanessa. Mark's boss at Franklin and Hart. I hope this isn't too forward, but I wanted to let you know he's spending the night with me. For the sake of his job. My mouth went dry. I thought I misheard her. What? She laughed gently, like this was some inside joke I wasn't part of. It's nothing personal. Just business. You understand how corporate things work. He's a valuable employee, and this is part of his growth. I couldn't even form a sentence. She didn't wait for me to. Don't worry. He'll be back in the morning. Click. She hung up. I just sat there. Phone still to my ear. I stared at the blank TV screen. For a long time I didn't even cry. I just kept thinking, what kind of woman calls another woman to say that? Was this a game? Was she drunk? Or was it worse, was she completely sober and meant every word? I didn't sleep. I kept walking around the apartment like a ghost. Checked my phone every 5 minutes. No texts from Mark. Nothing. I thought about calling him, but I didn't want to seem desperate. Isn't that insane? My husband was allegedly spending the night with his boss and I was worried about looking desperate. I kept replaying her voice in my head. The way she said it, smooth, smug, like she'd done it before. I started going over the last few months in my mind. The excuses. The cologne I didn't recognize once. That time he said he had a networking dinner and came back smelling like wine and perfume. God, I felt stupid. Like a walking cliché. At 6:22 a.m. I heard the key turn in the door. I was on the couch, still awake, still in the same clothes. Mark walked in, looking like a man who got hit by a train. His tie was crooked. Shirt wrinkled. Hair messy. He stopped dead when he saw me. "You're up early," he mumbled. I didn't sleep. He didn't look at me. Just nodded and walked to the kitchen like it was any other day. "Mark," I said, standing now. "Where were you last night?" He opened the fridge. "I told you. Late meeting. The usual." I just stared at him. Vanessa called. He froze. For a second, I swear he didn't even breathe. Then, slowly, he turned around. She called you? She said you were spending the night. For the sake of your job." He looked like he saw a ghost. Pale. Mouth open. Eyes darting. "It's not what it sounds like." "Then what is it?" He rubbed his face, then sat down at the table like his knees gave out. I had no choice. That was it. That was his answer. Not I'm sorry. Not let me explain. Just I had no choice. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just smiled, the kind of smile that says I'm not okay, but I will be. Neither did I told him. I went to the bathroom, shut the door, and locked it. He sat out there in silence. Here's the part he doesn't know. I may be a freelance designer, but I've got connections too. My cousin works in corporate law. High level. One phone call and she was already digging into the firm. And guess what? Vanessa has a history. She's been reported before for inappropriate behavior. There's an HR file. Complaints. Allegations. She's a repeat offender who happens to be great at covering her tracks, until now. I gave my cousin everything. Times, names, call logs. Even a recording of the voicemail Vanessa left me afterward, laughing like this was all some harmless prank. HR doesn't find it harmless. Legal doesn't either. As of this morning, Vanessa's being investigated internally. Things are moving fast. And no, I haven't told Mark. Not yet. Because I want to see how far he'll go to protect her. To lie. To pretend everything's okay. I want to watch it all come crashing down while he still thinks he's getting away with it. I'm not done yet. Mark still has no idea that I know everything. He thinks all I got was that one creepy phone call. He's walking on eggshells, sure, but not because he feels guilty. No. It's because he's scared I'll mess things up for him. For his career. Funny, isn't it? The man cheats on me, and he's the one worried about consequences. The next morning, he left for work early. No goodbye kiss. No apology. Just that awkward silence between us that felt thicker than concrete. Once he was gone, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went to his closet. I pulled out one of his old briefcases he hadn't used in months. I don't even know why I did it. Just, something told me to look. Inside, I found a printed photo. Not a selfie. Not some random office picture. It was a professionally printed 5x7 of Mark and Vanessa. They were at some fancy dinner event. He had his arm around her waist. She was smiling up at him, her hand resting on his chest like they were a couple. Like I didn't exist. I turned the photo over. In thick black marker, it read, "To my favorite, always worth staying late for." I couldn't breathe. My heart started pounding so hard I had to sit down. It wasn't just a fling. It wasn't just some messed up workplace power play. They had something real. Or at least, she thought it was real. Later that day, I got a call from my cousin again. "Hey," she said. I looked deeper into Vanessa. "Thought you should know, she's not just his boss." "What do you mean?" "She's one of the partners now. She's got serious pull. But here's the kicker. She used to be married to one of the founders." I blinked. Used to be? Divorced last year. Ugly one, too. He stepped away from the firm afterward. That hit me like a ton of bricks. Because I remembered something now. Mark once mentioned that the founder left after a scandal, but he never said what. Vanessa had taken his place not long after. It all clicked. This wasn't just a messed up affair. Vanessa had a pattern. She used people to climb. And Mark? He was just the next rung. That night, Mark came home late again. He didn't look at me when he came in. Just threw his keys in the dish and went to grab a beer. "You saw her again, didn't you?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. He paused. Then he said, "I told you, I didn't have a choice." I stood up. Walked over slowly. Put the photo I found on the table between us. He stared at it. "I found this," I said. His face changed. It wasn't guilt. It was panic. Like someone caught in headlights. I was going to tell you, he started. I cut him off. When? After your next sleepover? She said it was important for work. For me to show loyalty. If you refused, what? She'd fire you? Or would she stop giving you whatever she's been giving you in that hotel room? He didn't answer. I kept going. You think she loves you? She doesn't. You're just her toy right now. Just like her ex-husband probably was. She's using you, Mark. And you're throwing your whole life away for someone who won't even remember your name next year. Still, no response. Then, I said it. The thing I'd been dying to say. She's being investigated. The firm's onto her. HR is involved. Legal, too. He blinked. What? She's going down, Mark. And when she does, so do you, unless you get ahead of this. Now he looked scared. Truly scared. What did you do? He whispered. I protected myself, I said. Something you clearly forgot how to do. 2 days later, Vanessa didn't show up to work. Mark came home and told me she was out sick. I didn't say anything. That night, I got a call from my cousin again. Vanessa had been pulled into a closed-door meeting. She wasn't just being investigated. She was being suspended. Pending review. Apparently, she'd crossed the line with more than one employee. But Mark? Mark was the only one who had anything resembling proof, messages, calls, photos. And he didn't even know he had it. I started printing everything out. Messages he thought he deleted. Screenshots. Call logs from our phone bill. I organized it all into a neat little folder. And I wrote one note at the top, when you're ready to be honest, this is your way out. I left it on his pillow the next morning before heading out. And that's where I'll leave it for now. I know this is getting heavy. But I'm not done. There's more. So much more. Mark didn't mention the folder when I got home that night. He acted like it wasn't even there, like I hadn't laid our entire disaster of a marriage bare for him to see. But I could tell by the way he looked at me, something in him had shifted. Fear, maybe. Or realization. Still, he said nothing. The next day, something unexpected happened. I got a message on Facebook. From a woman named Alina. Her profile was locked down, no mutual friends, but the message was short and strange. I think we need to talk. It's about Vanessa. And Mark. Please don't ignore this. I stared at it for a long time before answering. We met that evening at a quiet little diner in West Loop. She was in her early 30s, nervous, but determined. We sat in a corner booth and I let her talk first. I used to work at Franklin and Hart, she said. I left 2 months ago. Or rather. I was pushed out. What does this have to do with Mark? I saw your post. On that forum. I figured it was you. The story matched too closely. I felt my stomach tighten. She continued. I was Vanessa's assistant. She's done this before. With other men in the office. Married men. And every time, she finds a way to twist it back on them when she's done. HR never sticks. The board protects her. Or at least, used to. I asked, you're telling me she targeted Mark? Alina nodded. She picks men she can manipulate. Ones with something to lose. Family. Status. A career they can't afford to mess up. She makes it feel like they're choosing her, but she's pulling the strings the whole time. I swallowed hard. She's dangerous, Alina said. And she doesn't care who gets crushed under her heels. Then she pulled out her phone. She had recordings. Emails. Screenshots of chats between Vanessa and one of the board members, flirty, manipulative, talking about keeping certain employees in line. including Mark. With Alina's help, I added even more to the file I had been compiling. This was no longer just about cheating. It was about abuse of power, manipulation, harassment, and how Mark was both a victim and a fool. The best part? Alina had already been contacted by the firm's legal team after she filed a wrongful termination suit. They tried to make her sign an NDA. She refused. She had nothing left to lose. She asked if I wanted to join her. I said no. But only for now. That weekend, Mark finally asked about the folder. He came into the kitchen while I was making coffee. His eyes were sunken, like he hadn't slept in days. "Is it true?" he asked. "That she's being investigated?" I turned slowly. "Yes." "Did you tell them?" "No," I said. "But someone else did." He looked confused. Like he couldn't connect the dots. I decided to make it worse. "Vanessa didn't choose you, Mark. She used you. She targeted you because you were easy. You followed her like a dog. And when she's done with you, she'll feed you to the wolves." He opened his mouth but said nothing. "She has a pattern. And now she's out of control. You're just collateral." That hit him hard. But I wasn't done. "There's more," I added. "She was already seeing someone else." Mark blinked. "What?" "She's sleeping with someone else. Higher up. You were just a side distraction." It was true, Alina had found texts between Vanessa and a partner overseas. They had met during a conference in Berlin a few weeks back. Photos. Videos. She bragged about it to one of her friends. Mark's face turned gray. That night, he cried. For the first time in years. Sat at the edge of our bed, head in hands, sobbing quietly like a broken man. I didn't comfort him. I didn't say anything. I just watched. Because this was the beginning of his real awakening. He finally understood that this wasn't just about a mistake. It was about being played. And that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't the only person who deserved an apology. A week passed. HR was moving faster now. Vanessa's suspension became a leave of absence. Rumors started flying. Some employees were already whispering about a lawsuit, multiple witnesses, and emails leaked to the media. Alina and I decided to wait a bit longer before making our move. Meanwhile, Mark was spiraling. He kept going to work, but he wasn't eating. Barely sleeping. I started hearing him make late-night phone calls in the bathroom, whispering into the sink. Then came the message that shook me. Another anonymous email. "You think you've got it all figured out. But Mark isn't as innocent as you think. Ask him about Nashville." Nashville? I had never been to Nashville. Mark had. Once. 6 months ago. Said it was a training conference. I never thought to question it. But now? Everything's up in the air. The email about Nashville sat with me like a rock in my chest. I didn't say anything to Mark right away. I waited. I watched him. I wanted to see if he'd come clean. If maybe, just once, he'd show me an ounce of honesty without being backed into a corner. But 3 days passed. Nothing. He still went to work. Still came home quiet. Ate barely anything. Avoided eye contact. And still, I said nothing. Until I couldn't take it anymore. It was a Friday night. Rain pounding the windows. The kind of storm that rattles you from the inside. I stood in the living room with the printed email in my hand. "Mark," I called, calm but firm. He was in the kitchen, scrolling on his phone. He looked up, tired. "What's Nashville?" His whole body froze. I walked closer. "Don't lie. Don't say it was work. Don't say you don't remember. Just tell me who she was." He blinked. His mouth opened. Then shut. Then opened again. She was no one, he muttered. It was just once. You slept with someone in Nashville? He covered his face with his hands. I was drunk. It was during the conference. Everyone went out. She was a rep from another company. It meant nothing. I just stood there. You slept with her, I repeated. I was so angry. We had just fought that week. You said you didn't know if we were working anymore. I thought maybe you were going to leave me. I felt. I don't know. Stupid. You felt stupid so you cheated? It was just once. I laughed. A sharp, bitter laugh that scared even me. So Vanessa wasn't your first. He said nothing. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I walked over to the file I had compiled, the texts, photos, messages from Vanessa, records from Alina, and now, this anonymous Nashville tip. I grabbed it and walked toward him. Do you see this? I asked. This is your legacy. He stared at the folder. This is what I've been building while you were lying. This is what I've collected while you were working late. This is what your boss will be fired over. And you? You're not a victim anymore, Mark. You're just another man who got caught. He sat down, slowly, like the weight of it all finally crushed him. I thought I was protecting my career, he whispered. You destroyed your marriage to protect a job that wouldn't have protected you. He didn't respond. Just sat there. Shoulders slumped. Silent. The following Monday, HR sent a company-wide announcement. Vanessa was officially terminated. Ethical violations, conflicts of interest, and pending legal review were all mentioned. Then the real shock came. Alina leaked the folder. Every word. Every message. Everything. Online forums picked it up. The company's name started trending. News outlets circled. Franklin and Hart became the firm with the predator partner and the complicit men. And Mark? He was listed in every article. As a participant, not just a victim. He wasn't fired. But he was placed on indefinite leave. Which is corporate speak for don't come back. Neighbors started talking. His family called, confused and furious. My sister, who always hated him, dropped by with wine and said, well. Told you. Mark stayed in the guest room. We barely spoke. One night, I found him sitting on the floor, holding the Nashville photo. I ruined everything, he said. Yes, I said. I don't even know who I am anymore. You're someone who didn't stop. That's who you are. He cried again. I didn't comfort him. Later, my mom called. She knew something was wrong. I told her everything. She cried with me. And that was the first time I actually felt seen. Alina won her case. Settled big. She's moving to Seattle to start fresh. She thanked me in her last message and said I probably saved someone else by helping expose Vanessa. That meant more than I can explain. It's been 2 months now. Mark moved out last week. I didn't ask where he was going. I didn't care. We're filing for divorce. No drama, no fighting. Just, done. Sometimes, I still wake up in the middle of the night and expect to hear him snoring. Or smell his coffee brewing. And then I remember. And I breathe. I don't think I'll ever fully forgive him. Not because of the cheating. But because he let me believe I was crazy. He made me question my gut for months. He let me sit in silence while he unraveled our life one selfish decision at a time. I'm not bitter. But I am different. I've learned that love isn't enough, not if there's no honesty. And I've learned that sometimes, losing someone is the best thing that can happen to you. I'm not sure what comes next. Maybe a new city. Maybe just a new couch. But it'll be mine. It'll be real. And that's something.